जय जय श्री राधे। श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय। सभी वैष्णवन को हार्दिक सप्रेम सादर जय श्री कृष्ण। Today is the 51st day of the reading, and we're continuing with part 5 of the story of Vasudev Das Chakra. In Simhanand, whenever the Vaishnavas had a major festival at home, they would call Vasudev Das to come and have prasad. When it was a little festival, they just called a few Vaishnavas and not Vasudev Das. After a few days, all the Simhanand Vaishnavas went to Sri Gokul to visit Sri Gosaiji. Vasudev Das complained that they did not call him to their homes when they had meetings and sang together. Sri Gosaiji asked them why this was. He is a great disciple of Sri Acharyaji. How can you not call him? They replied, we call him when we have huge festivals, but on the lesser festivals we do not, because he can eat as much as 20 people and still be hungry, and that would be offensive on our part. Sri Gosaiji declared, from now on, keep to this promise. Where you would have called 200 people, now please call 100, but include Vasudev Das. If it were to be 150, 100, call 50, but do include him. For 50 people, call 25. For 10, call 5, but always include him. This is okay for up to 10 people. If you are only inviting 5, then do not invite him. The Vaishnavas were still worried that he may go away hungry, which would be offensive. You don't have to worry about this, Sri Gosaiji advised. Always just avoid causing any offence. The Simhanand Vaishnavas then began to invite him to the festivals. Bhav Prakash, if just one accomplished Vaishnava comes to a festival, it counts for all, and Sri Thakurji is soon pleased. Part 6. Vasudev Das had quite a few religious clients in Agra. In the period of forefather worship, he used to go there, and all the Kshatriyas, they used to invite him to stay with them. So that's Shrad Paksh. He would have Mahaprasad at all their homes. They would give him money, clothes to wear, rolls of cloth and money. Then at the end of the 15-day period, he would take all of it, buy rice and sugar, and donate all of it to the temple store there. He would distribute all the cloth to all the various temple departments, the main temple, the vegetable room, the water room, and the flower room, etc. Sri Gosaiji saw that there was new cloth all over the place, and asked who had given all of this at one time. The Vaishnavas told him it was Vasudev Das. Sri Gosaiji asked him where he had acquired all of this. He told them it all came from his Kshatriya clients in Agra. I go there in the 15 days of forefather worship and stay and take prasad in their houses. They give me money and cloth. I buy rice and sugar for the store and distribute the cloth around. Sri Gosaiji praised the way in which he made all his work relate to the Lord. In future years, whenever Sri Gosaiji noticed new cloth here and there, he remarked that it must have come from Vasudev Das. The Vaishnavas always told him that Vasudev Das had brought it all from Agra. Sri Gosaiji was always very pleased with Vasudev Das. Bhav Prakash, even if you give an accomplished Vaishnava something towards some worldly or scriptural purpose, they will turn it into Seva. The Kshatriya clients in Agra gave it in the name of their forefathers. Vasudev then ensured its acceptance in Sri Gosaiji's residence. In this way, the lives of those Kshatriyas were fulfilled. So indeed were their forefathers. Vasudev Das's heart was full of divine longing and was never in the world. He was dealing with the forefather ritual but enjoying Mahaprasad. He related the forefather ceremonies to divine purpose. There were never any obstacles in his way. He had such great strength which was God-given and was always related to his service in Sri Nandaraji's house in the Leela. Here on earth he served Sri Acharyaji, and so he also enjoyed the nectar of the Lord's pastimes. He experienced the Leelas of Sri Nandaraji's house and not that of the intimate pastimes of the Lord in the Nikunja. This was the amazing nature of this Vasudev Das. He did not have a personal Swarupa to serve. In the eternal Leela, he brought everything he had directly to Sri Yashodaji. Part 7. Whenever Sri Gosaiji went travelling, he always took Vasudev Das with him. He would carry a whole cartload by himself. That is why his name stuck as Vasudev Chakra. He was great and faithful Vaishnava. Thus concludes Varta 38, the story of Vasudev Chakra, Saraswat Brahmin from Simhanand, although there is really no end to his story. Continuing to Varta 39, the story of Baba Venu Saraswat Brahmin, Krishna Das Ghagari, Kshatriya, and Yadavendra Das the Baniya, who was Baba Venu's valet. This is the story of all three of them. Bhav Prakash. There was a village in the east between Varanasi and Prayag, and they all lived there. Baba Venu and Krishna Das are Vishaka's Sakis in the eternal Leela, and their names are Suraseni and Kamalata. Suraseni has a Saki named Tilakini, who is Yadavendra Das, who had become Baba Venu's personal assistant. All of them had to go through numerous births on earth. This is why. One day Vishakaji asked the three of them to go to see Nandaraji's house and see if Sri Thakurji was awake, in which case they should bring one of his garments back with them to her. Then all three arrived at Sri Nandaraji's door. Sri Thakurji asked them where Vishaka was, and they said they did not know that they had come to see him. If you have anything to say to Vishakaji, you can say it to us. In this way, they began to think of themselves as equal to Vishakaji. Sri Thakurji laughed and kept quiet. He then went inside to his mother. The three of them sat at the door thinking that since the Lord was smiling at them when he went inside, then he would surely come back out again very soon. Another Saki recounted this all to Vishakaji, who straight away ran there and saw them sitting laughing. She cursed them to take birth on earth as a result of their pride. They all three indeed fell to earth. Baba Venu was born as a Saraswat Brahmin, was about 24 years old when he met Krishna Das, and they became good friends. Yadavendra's situation was difficult. Sometimes in his home there was not enough food and drink. Baba Venu was a Devi worshipper, regarding Devi as the highest godhead. One day, Sri Krishna in the form of Sri Kalyan Raji came to Baba Venu in a dream. He said, I am Kalyani Devi. I am in the lake in this town. Please pull me out of the water and worship me. The next morning, Baba Venu told Krishna Das. They went to that lake, the water of which was deep and would reach up to a man's chest. After much searching, Baba Venu found Kalyan Raji. He used his savings to build a small temple next to the lake for the goddess. He named it the Kalyani Devi Temple. All the villagers paid their respects, thinking this to be a Devi. The three of them lived off the proceeds. They continued to like this for 5 years. Then one day when Sri Acharyaji was travelling to Adel from Varanasi, he stopped under a mango tree closer to this temple. At that time, Baba Venu and Krishna Das had gone out to a neighbouring village. Sri Kalyanaraji called out to Sri Acharyaji and asked him to come inside. Sri Acharyaji saw that Sri Thakurji was wearing women's clothing. Why are you here sitting, dressed like a goddess? He asked Sri Thakurji. Sri Thakurji answered, "What can I do? No one here in this village knows about Sri Thakurji, but Baba Venu, Krishna Das and Yadavendra Das are your divine souls. It is in order to uplift them that I am allowing them to worship me like a goddess, especially since Baba Venu favours Devi worship. Please, however, now make me back into Sri Thakurji. And would you please stay here for some hours and initiate these three, Baba Venu, Krishna Das and Yadavendra Das?" Sri Acharyaji then took off the skirt and hung it on a peg. He divided up the shawl and made a garment for Sri Thakurji to tie round his waist and a turban for his head. He then went and sat under a nearby mango tree. Soon the three friends came there. When they entered Sri Kalyan Raji's temple, they saw that he was wearing a dhoti and an uparana. Baba Venu said, "Who has been here and undressed my goddess?" Sri Kalyan Raji spoke to him. "Do not touch me. I am the Lord Kalyan Raji." Baba Venu objected. "No one in this village even knows about Sri Thakurji, and pray tell me, what offence have I committed that you now tell me not to touch you?" Sri Kalyan Raji replied, "Outside under the mango tree is sitting Sri Vallabhacharyaji. You must become his disciple. Even if the rest of the village folk do not know who Sri Thakurji is, what difference does that make to you? You have got 700 rupees stashed in the cellar of your home. Make my services using that money. First and foremost, go now and be initiated by Sri Acharyaji. The three men then went to Sri Acharyaji and requested him to initiate them. He told them to go and bathe in the lake nearby and then return. They did so, and Sri Acharyaji gave them name and Brahma Sambandh initiation. Sri Acharyaji then told Baba Vaishnav to do one thing. Please take Sri Kalyanaraji home and serve him there secretly without any villager finding out. Then put any statue of a goddess in the temple and keep someone there to worship her. You should not be worshipping a goddess. Offer Bhoga to Sri Thakurji, and the three of you will accept only that prasad. Baba Vaishnav requested Sri Acharyaji to come and stay in his house for a couple of days and instruct him in the ways of Seva. No one in the village should find out. Bringing Sri Kalyanaraji with him, Sri Acharyaji established him in his place in Baba Vaishnav's home. Baba Vaishnav went and fetched the 700 rupees from the cellar and placed them before Sri Acharyaji. Sri Acharyaji said that he did not want this money, that Baba Vaishnav should keep it, for he had firm faith in the Lord. Sri Acharyaji stayed for 4 days and nights. He bathed Sri Kalyanaraji in the 5 nectars, gave him to Baba Vaishnav and Krishnadas's responsibility, and taught them everything they needed to know about the ways of Seva in the path of grace. Excuse me. He instructed them to do whatever the Lord would tell them. Having taught them all this, he returned to Adel. Baba Vaishnav and Krishnadas served the Lord together. Yadavendra Das did all the peripheral work. Baba Vaishnav then set up the goddess worship in the temple, putting one man in charge for a small payment. That priest was very happy to serve the goddess, and he survived on whatever came from the temple, from the village. Baba Vaishnav and Yadavendra Das had no living relatives, but Krishnadas had 2 brothers. Both of them went to Adel and took the Lord's name firstly. Both of them went to Adel and took the first Lord's name initiation from Sri Acharyaji. They became ordinary Vaishnavas. Many days passed. Sri Govardhandhara appeared from the Sri Giriraj mountain, and after Sri Acharyaji, Sri Gochaji served him. These 3 chaps decided that they would like to go and have the sight of Srinathji on the Sri Giriraj mountain. Baba Vaishnav could see Srinathji with his heart's eye. Baba Vaishnav could always see Srinathji with his heart's eyes. Krishnadas was always experiencing separation from him, but Baba Vaishnav could see Srinathji with his piercing eyes. Baba Vaishnav could see Srinathji with his heart's eyes. Krishnadas was always experiencing separation from him, wondering when he would be able to return to the eternal Leela. He earned his keep by singing kirtans, songs about the Lord's pastimes. Yadavendra Das was respectful to everything that was said and enjoyed just serving. One day Sri Kalyanaraji offered them to go to leave the sight of Srinathji, telling them that they were all 3 would attain the eternal Leela there. Baba Vaishnav asked him who would look after him in that case. Sri Kalyanaraji told them to leave him with Krishnadas's 2 brothers. Baba Vaishnav called them in and told them that they were most blessed and should be attentive to the Seva. He left them in the house and everything in it. He left them the house and everything in it. We are all 3 going to Guna, to Vraja, he declared. We will all leave our bodies there. This serves to be the will of the Lord. Otherwise, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. So thus concludes the reading for today. The beginning of the story of Baba Vaishnav Das Saraswat, Varta number 39. And we'll continue tomorrow from here. Jai Shri Radhe Ji. Jai Shri Krishna Sabko Shri Vallabhadish Ki Jai Ho Ji.